The Ottoman Empire, a name whispered in fear, a vast dominion stretching from the golden sands of North Africa to the gates of Vienna. Its heart beat in Constantinople, a city of dazzling minarets and bustling bazaars. The lifeblood of this empire, its arteries and veins, were the waters of the Mediterranean. This was the Sultan's sea. Galleys, sleek and deadly, patrolled these waters, their oars beating a rhythm of power. They were the enforcers of the Sultan's will, feared by merchants and emperors alike. Their holds bulged with the riches of conquered lands, silks from Damascus, spices from the Indies, gold from the mountains of Anatolia. These treasures flowed in an endless stream towards Constantinople, fueling the Ottoman war machine. But even in this empire of iron, there were whispers of rebellion, stories told in hushed tones in waterfront taverns, of men who dared to challenge the Sultan's might. These were the pirates, the corsairs, the wolves of the sea, and among them none were more feared, more cunning than Benedetto the Lion. Benedetto. The name itself sent shivers down the spines of seasoned captains. A man forged in the crucible of the sea, his face weathered by salt spray and sun. He was a legend, whispered to be touched by the devil, capable of commanding winds and summoning storms. Benedetto vanished from the pirate haunts of Tripoli, leaving behind a trail of rumors. Some said he'd sailed west to the New World, seeking El Dorado. But the truth lay hidden in the shadows. Benedetto was waiting, listening, planning. Then came the whispers, whispers of a treasure fleet, laden with an unimaginable fortune, making its way from Alexandria to Constantinople. This was the prize Benedetto had been waiting for, a target too tempting to resist. The whispers reached Benedetto's ears in a smoky tavern in Algiers. He sat alone, disguised as a simple merchant, his calloused hands wrapped around a mug of spiced wine.
They call it the Sultan's Jewel, a galleon the likes of which these waters have never seen, laden with gold, they say, enough to buy a kingdom.
Benedetto listened, his face an impassive mask. He knew the risks. The Ottoman fleet was a formidable foe, their ships bristling with cannons and manned by fanatical warriors. But the reward was beyond measure. It wasn't just about the gold. It was about striking a blow against the tyranny of the Ottomans, about showing the world that even the mighty Sultan was not invincible. This was Benedetto's moment. The lion of the Mediterranean would roar once more. The plan was audacious, bordering on suicidal. Benedetto intended to intercept the Sultan's jewel in the treacherous Strait of Messina, a narrow passage between Italy and Sicily known for its unpredictable currents and sudden storms. It was a dangerous gamble, but Benedetto thrived on risk. He knew that the element of surprise was his greatest weapon. He gathered his crew, a motley band of cutthroats and adventurers, veterans of countless sea battles and daring raids.
We will strike at the heart of the Sultan's power. We will seize his treasure and send a message that will echo through the ages.
There was a murmur of excitement, a hint of fear, as the men absorbed the audacity of their captain's scheme. Benedetto laid out his plan, his voice low and intense, his eyes burning with a fierce light.
We'll show them what it means to cross the lion of the Mediterranean.
The crew was ready. The plan was set. The lion would roar and the Sultan would tremble. The days that followed were a flurry of activity. The pirates prepared their ship, a sleek and deadly frigate named the Sea Serpent, for battle. They honed their cutlasses and pikes to razor sharpness, checked their pistols and muskets. The air crackled with anticipation and a palpable tension.
Beneath the surface excitement, a current of apprehension ran through the crew. They were about to face the might of the Ottoman Empire, a force that had crushed kingdoms and instilled fear in the hearts of men.
But their fear was tempered by their loyalty to Benedetto, a leader who inspired both dread and devotion in equal measure.
As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the deck, Benedetto gathered his men. He stood before them, a figure of quiet strength and determination.
Tonight, we sail into history. Tonight, we show the world what it means to be free.
The Sea Serpent slipped out of Algiers harbor under the cover of darkness. A light breeze filled her sails, propelling her silently through the inky waters. The moon, a sliver of silver in the star-strewn sky, cast an eerie glow on the ship and its crew.
Benedetto stood at the helm, his eyes fixed on the horizon. He could taste the salt spray on his lips, feel the tension in the air. The fate of his crew, the success of his plan, rested on his shoulders. He would not fail them.
Days turned into nights. The pirates sailed on, their anticipation growing with each passing hour. They drilled relentlessly, their movements becoming swift and precise, their coordination flawless. They were ready.
The lookout's cry pierced the pre-dawn stillness. "Sail ho, 2 points off the starboard bow."
Benedetto's heart quickened. This was it, the moment of truth. The Sultan's Jewel. Even from a distance, the galleon was an imposing sight. Twice the size of the sea serpent, its towering masts scraped the sky. Its decks bristled with cannons, and a massive Ottoman flag emblazoned with the crescent moon and star fluttered defiantly in the wind.
"Run up the colors!" Benedetto roared. The black flag of the sea serpent, bearing the image of a snarling serpent, unfurled above the mainmast. A declaration of war, a promise of no quarter.
The Ottoman ship, caught completely off guard, scrambled to respond. The alarm bell clanged frantically. Sailors rushed to their battle stations, their faces a mixture of confusion and fear.
Fire! Benedetto's command ripped through the air.
The sea serpent erupted in a deafening roar. A storm of iron and fire tore into the Sultan's Jewel, shredding sails and splintering wood. The pirates, fueled by adrenaline and greed, unleashed a devastating volley of musket fire. The battle had begun. The two ships grappled together, their decks transformed into a maelstrom of clashing steel and dying screams. Pirates, their faces contorted in savage joy, swarmed aboard the Ottoman ship, their cutlasses flashing in the sunlight. The Ottoman defenders, though taken by surprise, fought with the ferocity of cornered wolves. They were driven by the knowledge that defeat meant not only the loss of the treasure, but also the Sultan's wrath.
Amidst the chaos, Benedetto, a whirlwind of fury, carved a path towards the enemy captain. His blade, a blur of silver, tasted blood again and again. He moved with the grace of a dancer, the lethality of a viper. Finally, he reached his goal.
Suleiman Pasha, the Ottoman captain, a giant of a man with eyes as hard as flint, stood his ground. He wielded a scimitar, its curved blade glinting menacingly in the sunlight. The duel was a clash of titans. Benedetto, agile and lightning-fast, pitted his skill against Suleiman's brute strength. Sparks flew as their blades met, the air thick with the smell of sweat, gunpowder, and blood. Benedetto fought with the heart of a lion, his movements a blur of controlled aggression. He parried, thrust, and riposted, forcing Suleiman onto the defensive. He could sense the Ottoman captain tiring, his movements becoming slower, his breath ragged. With a final, desperate lunge, Suleiman exposed his defenses.
Benedetto seized his opportunity. His blade flashed, a silver streak against the azure sky. Suleiman gasped, his eyes widening in disbelief as Benedetto's blade found its mark, piercing his heart. The Ottoman captain crumpled to the deck, his lifeblood staining the polished wood crimson.
A collective gasp arose from both sides as the reality of Benedetto's victory sank in. The fight seemed to drain from the Ottoman sailors. They were leaderless, their spirit broken. With the Ottoman captain dead, the remaining defenders surrendered. The pirates, their faces flushed with victory, wasted no time in securing their prize. The Sultan's Jewel, its decks littered with bodies and slick with blood, was theirs. As the sun began its final descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Benedetto stood on the deck of the captured galleon. He surveyed the scene, his heart heavy despite their triumph. The air was thick with the smell of gunpowder and death, a grim reminder of the cost of victory.
He ordered his men to set fire to the Ottoman ship. As the flames roared to life, consuming the vessel in a fiery embrace, Benedetto made a vow. He would use the Sultan's treasure to strike a blow against tyranny, to bring freedom to those who suffered under the Ottoman yoke. But even as he spoke, he couldn't shake off a feeling of unease. The victory had come at a price. He had slain the Sultan's most trusted captain, and he knew that vengeance would be swift and merciless.
The sea serpent, laden with unimaginable riches, disappeared into the vastness of the Mediterranean, leaving behind a trail of smoke and whispers. The legend of Benedetto, the Lion of the Mediterranean, grew with each retelling. He challenged the might of the Ottoman Empire and emerged victorious. But Benedetto knew the battle was far from over. The Sultan, his pride wounded, would stop at nothing to avenge his loss. The hunt for Benedetto and his crew had begun, a relentless pursuit. In the end, Benedetto's legacy would not be measured solely in gold and glory, but in the courage he inspired, the hope he ignited, and the enduring spirit of defiance he embodied. His legend, passed down through generations, would serve as a timeless reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the human spirit, much like the sea itself, could never be truly conquered.